Welcome. Today I wish to show you how to create a function, a very simple one, the factorial function, using the flow of test-driven development. I already created a repository on GitHub, and I will show you also how to clone that repository, but then based on the cloned repository, I will start all over from scratch. As such, you will have a view of the development flow, but you will have also the complete code without errors. So first of all, I will have to go to the repository on GitHub just to see it. The address is https://psherban/pubs tdd-01. And here is my GitHub repository. I can take the link from here, Ctrl+C, open PowerShell. I will go to the projects directory where I have all my things on this virtual machine. Let's go in test. It's a subdirectory that I prepared. Git clone and the address of the repository. If I put a dir, I have a new directory, which actually it's a Git repository. If I go to pubs.tdd.01 git GUI, then I'll have in here visualize master history. And I have the history, whatever I did. At a certain moment, I deleted some code. Having the repository on my computer, now I can go forward with the development of my function. As usual, till now, as we did till now, I will use the SQL Server Management Studio, and inside the SQL Server Management Studio, we can have solutions. It's based on Visual Studio. We can have solutions and projects. And this is what I will do right now. And now I will open a solution. Pubs TDD01. Double click on it, and here is my solution with a project, and the project contains all the code that I am interested in. Which is the next step? Well, instead of going and repeating exactly what I did in here, I will start from scratch with the steps following the test-driven development methodology. For this very simple function, the factorial function. What is the factorial function? The factorial of a number is the product of all natural numbers from 1 up to that number. Factorial of 3 is 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3, and so on. Let's start. I will create a new project inside this solution. TDD Factfunc. The naming of the project, it is up to you. The way you are accustomed to use SQL Server Management Studio, still, because it's a way to organize information, it is good to use projects and solution in the context of the SQL Server Management Studio. At least this is my opinion. I have a connection to the SQL Server, and the SQL Server has the pubs database, and this is the development database, and inside it we have installed, between quotes, tSQLt. Installing means creating the database objects in the tSQLt schema, supporting the flow of test-driven development. First step is to decide what kind of decide the name of the test class which we will use. What I'm doing, I'm just the test class is test plus the name of the object for which we will add unit tests. As such, I will put in here 02 create test class. Then if I use pubs, the development database, F5, and then I will call a specific procedure from tSQLt which creates test classes. Execute tSQLt, we have IntelliSense, new test class, here it is, at class name, and what I'm using, not absolutely necessary, it is up to you, test UDF Factorial TDD. My function will be named UDF underscore Factorial TDD. I'm creating the test class, and what does it mean? If I will go to pubs, if I will go to security and schemas, means that I created a schema. And inside this schema, I will have to create my unit tests, which are stored procedures. If I go to the properties of the newly defined test class schema, and I click on extended properties, you see in this property shows that in this particular schema, unit tests will be stored between quotes. In this schema, we will find unit tests. So I have a schema. Then let's create the code to run all the tests. 03 run all tests. Again use pubs. Execute tSQLt run all. And if I do this, well, the infrastructure will try to run the test. I have no test, and that's it. Now I have to create my first unit test, a test that verifies, checks if my function exists. Let's do it. 04 first unit test. Use pubs, go, drop procedure if exists, and copy and paste with this one my stored procedure. In order to be a unit test, we'll have to be created in a specific key schema marked as a container for unit tests, and its name will have to start with test. Test if UDF Factorial TDD exists. Okay, a mistake. Create procedure, copy and paste from here, Ctrl C, Ctrl V as begin, and I have to put go. Create procedure should be in its own batch. Arrange, act, assert. Nothing to arrange, nothing to act. I just check if a certain database object exists. For this, the tSQLt framework library has a specialized function, procedure, assert object exists at object name equal, and me, I will go with this one. Ctrl C, because this is a function that I wish to create. Execute. I did a mistake. Cert object exists. Now is correct. Okay. So I create my first function and I have no errors. Let's try to run again the tests. So the test executed. I have a failure. And where is the failure? UDF factorial TDD doesn't exist. My function doesn't exist. Let's create the function. Rename 05, create UDF factorial TDD, use pubs, go. If drop function if exists, this is from SQL Server 2017, maybe also 2016, but I don't know. DBO UDF factorial TDD, create function dbo.udf factorial TDD. It should have a input parameter, returns big int as begin end, and it returns 0. Again, we have to declare a function in its own patch. So this is the stub of the UDF factorial TDD function. It always returns 0, no matter what the input parameter is. So I've created it in the pubs database. Let's run all tests again. And now I have all tests passed. I can start adding functionality to my function. But how do I do this? I will create a test which 08, which checks if the logic of if the function returns the proper value given a certain parameter. Test z factorial of 4 is 24. I will create only one test. Use pubs, go, drop procedure if exists, and now again I have to go in create test class, copy it from here, Ctrl V, hey, I did a mistake, copy, go in here, Ctrl V, okay, dot test z factorial of 4 is 24. Now I have to copy this one, Ctrl C, go, create procedure as begin end, arrange, act, assert. Arrange, prepare things. What do I prepare? Declare at expected equal as big int equal 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4. Declare at actual big int. I don't know yet which is the value. I ran an action over the unit that under test. So it's set at actual equal, I'm calling the function UDF factorial TDD, but let's first do this. Okay, factorial TDD of 4, execute tSQLt assert equals at expected equal at expected and at actual equal at actual. So here it is. I'm setting up things, calling my function, check if what is returned is equal with what I expect. Let's run it. Now the function that unit test, that store procedure is created. I'll have to run all tests and see if it works. Well, I have a failure. Instead of 24, I received 0. Why this? If I go to my function, it always returns 0. So the solution is to put in here logic if at n smaller or equal than 1 return 1, and in here I will return at n multiplied by dbo UDF factorial TDD at n minus 1. So it's a recursive function. If it is smaller or equal than 1 it will be returned. If not, it will return the current values multiplied by the value returned by factorial TDD with a parameter of n minus 1. Execute. Execute. And now let's run again all tests. And all tests passed. And that's it. This is the idea of test-driven development. I'm starting small and add functionality. I'm adding functionality by adding unit tests, which will fail and then will pass by modifying or adding code to the object, database object. Thank you for listening.